York Times poll has President Biden trailing future incarceree Donald Trump in 5 key battleground states. And with the election less than a year away, some Democrats are suggesting that maybe Graham POTUS should let someone else top the ticket in 24. The calls for Joe Biden to drop out are getting louder, but that could just be because he can't hear them.
They are getting louder. And you know what excites me the most about this? Because you're hearing this everywhere. Joe Biden's too old, Joe Biden's too old, Joe Biden's too old. What excites me most about the prospect of Joe Biden dropping out is that I will get to text message Buck and tell him I was right and you were wrong. And that, for me, is the most important thing I treasure more than anything else in the world. Joining me now, somebody that you're going to be well familiar with, Buck Sexton, of course, of the gigantic Clay and Buck show. Buck, I hope you're ready, because I'm just going to be obnoxious that day. Just block my number that day. The day Joe Biden announces he's resigning for health reasons or something like that, or not running again, man, just block me, buddy.
So just, I'm breathing more easily now, because I thought when you did this, you were going to make fun of my massive head, which the audience does on any video stream I do on a regular basis. I was born with this head. I can't change my giant cranium that truly requires special order hats and helmets for me to play different sports. Okay, so I also I'm sad, because usually, Jesse, I get to sit here and, I mean, I don't even know if it makes for the best TV, but I agree with you on so many things. I don't want to say like 95% of things, and it just turns into a high five session. How can you be so wrong on this, man? Of course Joe Biden is going to go the distance. Like, I don't know what else to say here. Just to be clear, you, Tucker, Clay, O'Reilly, all of you think that I'm crazy, all right? So you guys are all on one side of this issue. So I'm excited, because I'm going to be sending out a group text to all of you telling you. Let me explain why this is going to be Joe Biden, even though everything that you're going to tell me about Joe Biden, right? Like, this is what I have to, I've gone through this. I've gone through this with Uncle Bill. I've gone through this with Clay. Everything you're going to tell me, I know and is true, right? He looks confused. He falls down. All those things are true. But Clay, Jesse, they were basically true 4 years ago. Like, it doesn't really matter. They don't care. The system, the apparatus runs the presidency now. There was just an article about how Obama was advising on AI behind the scenes, all of his special advisors helping. Joe Biden's a figurehead, my man, and he's a name everybody recognizes, and that's just the way it's going to go. He's the incumbent.
Okay, now let me push back on this, because everything you just said there is true almost. There's one thing that is not true. The system, if you will, does not want him anymore. We have articles, front page articles in the New York Times, CNN, CBS, ABC, NBC, across the board. Jimmy freaking Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel is as big of a card-carrying commie apparatchik as we have in this country. He's making fun of him. This time, instead of the system holding up President Poopy Pants, this time it seems like they want him gone. I don't think he's going to be gone because he's older, because Republicans don't like him. I think he's going to be gone because the system doesn't like him.
So let me take you to another level, because first of all, again, what you're saying is true. There are all these articles and there's all this last minute fear that somehow people are going to start not being crazy and recognize that putting somebody who is not just past his prime, but is obviously in senility and a dementia phase is deeply irresponsible, really, whatever your politics are, because there are situations in which the commander in chief does have to make decisions, or at least should be able to listen to different advisors and figure. Okay, so that's all true. The other reason why I'm so confident in my analysis, and I know you're going to play this clip back and mock me mercilessly if and when it turns into Gavin Newsom, Michelle Obama, and so I'm leaning into this right now, knowing that I'm going to get absolutely crushed in about 6 months if that happens. But the other part of this is there's no easy way to replace him. So, like, we could dive into this for a second. There's nothing you can do. Now, Kamala Harris taking over, and I've said this all along, that to me is still, that's like a Biden ticket. That doesn't, that to me is why you have a vice president. And I've always said he's old enough where, yeah, he could have like a stroke or a heart attack. I mean, something could happen. That's why we have a vice president. So Kamala Harris, I don't consider that me being wrong. That's not her replacing him. That's her just being the vice president and taking over.
No.
That's their only number two option, Jesse. The other stuff people are talking about, you can't even get on the ballot in a lot of these states unless you are the candidate or you've declared as a candidate by the middle of December. So how are you going to have a Democrat who's not even on the ballot, or who how are you going to have Gavin Newsom or Pritzker or who's the evil witch of Michigan? What's her name? Whitmer.
Oh, Whitmer.
How are you going to have one of them on the ballot when they can't even get it done in time? You know what I'm saying? Like the logistics becomes the issue. The logistics becomes the reason why Gavin Newsom. Who's going to vote for Gavin Newsom in Pennsylvania? Get out of here.